NDTV 24/7.
In association with PayTM.
It's a controversy as big as the newspaper ads that have been greeting us every morning. The issue is free basics. And that's what we are talking about today, just as 40 IIT professors, IISc professors, academics have written a letter, issued a statement that they do not support free basics by Facebook because they feel that it has privacy issues, that it is not really free as they claim, and it is misleading. Simultaneously, we also have startup CEOs writing to the Telecom Regulatory Authority telling them that this should not be accepted by them because they feel it gives an unfair advantage to all those companies who they will be offering as part of the Facebook package. So for On Agenda today, for the first time, we have those IIT professors who have written this letter, who have started this campaign. They'll be joining us from Bombay. In studio, we have Manish Vij. He's the CEO of SVG Media, and he is one of the people who has sent that letter to the TRAI. We also have Nikhil Pava of Media Nama. He's been writing articles about this, also opposing Facebook. And we have Mishi Chaudhary, who helped IIT professors frame that note that they set out over there. Joining us from Bangalore, we have Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Rajya Sabha MP, who will be telling us about his stand for the very first time. He takes a totally different point of view from the guests over here in studio. We also have NASSCOM head R. Chandrasekhar joining us as well to talk about this. We'll be joined by the IIT professors in just a bit from Mumbai. But first, Manish Vij, if I can start with you. You've made your note and you stand very clear in all of this. When Facebook says that by blocking free basics, you're blocking internet for the poor, how do you counter that?
I mean, not at all. I think see, even if for a matter of fact, let's believe that it's a great idea, I mean, to give a lot of underprivileged people access to free internet or access to some basic internet sites. I mean, but that needs to be not done by a corporate which has selfish interest, or which has or let's say interest in the corporate side, in the business that they're doing. I mean, clearly it has to be done by a neutral body if it has to be done, or clearly it has to be done by the government. I mean, today we have 200 million people on internet by mobile phone, whatever the case is, and it's growing rapidly well. I mean, there is no case whatsoever that somebody needs to come and give India a completely new charter, give free basics, and driven by a corporate authority. Not at all. Why Facebook? Why Facebook at all?
R. Chandrasekhar, do you have a different perspective from all that people like Manish Vij and the other CEOs are saying?
Well, you know, we have actually responded to the TRAI consultation paper, and I want to actually point out one point, that the TRAI consultation paper is not for free basics per se. The TRAI consultation paper is on whether different pricing should be allowed or not. And we have our response clearly brought for 3 points. First, that the principles of net neutrality which we had mentioned in April have been also brought out in the TRAI consultation paper are paramount, they are national priority and should not be compromised. So telecom service providers should not have the right to determine what the consumer sees or to price it differentially, and thereby introduce bias in what they see. The second thing is that given the challenges that India has in terms of internet penetration being poor and continuous innovation is to affordability.
Yes.
It's important that we have a ecosystem in which continuous innovation is enabled. But at the same time, in this, given all of these priorities, it's also to enable innovation, to ensure spread of internet, ensure access, and we should not, in the process of ensuring net neutrality and ensuring an ecosystem conducive to innovation, while preserving them is paramount and cannot be compromised, but there needs to be openness to allow differential price in areas which are required. We already have some instances of that sort, and it's quite possible that the regulator may need to create other such instances. What we have said, therefore, is that the regulator should be satisfied that there is public good, and in such cases, the differential pricing can be allowed by the regulator with an appropriate oversight mechanism.
Okay, so let's go across to Bombay and the IIT professors. We have Professor Kriti Ramamritam and Professor Bhaskaran. They are part of the group which have released this statement against free basics. One of the analogies, professors, that we saw in Mark Zuckerberg's article is it's like a library. Why would anyone oppose a library? What would you say to that?
Because if you decide by yourself as a group of people who are going to use the library, what the library should contain, it is one thing. But for some entity outside the country to come and tell us what the library should contain, what it should not contain, how much you should charge for each book, and how the book will be given to you, presented to you, all of that becomes an issue with respect to freedom of access to information. That is our primary concern about this the proposal that's been made by free basic movement.
And when you hear,
we are saying that on the surface things look very.
Go ahead.
On the surface things look very rosy. Everybody will have access. Nobody will have to pay for it. But if you peel the surfaces one by one, then you start looking at the details. Then you find that you have lost your freedom to some entity outside the country. That is one major issue. The second issue is that the content which is going to be there, given to you, is going to be decided by some entity which doesn't have any idea about what we need as a country. There are a lot of people who have worked on this topic of what are people who don't have access to the internet today need in the future, and that again will come only through experience in this area, in this country, having deployed content, having given access to content to millions of people. So that is not happening here. Third is that we should have a say in all this, not some entity outside the country. So I think all of these reasons bring us together in the cause that we are fighting for in some sense.
Nikhil Pava, when the IIT professors what they're saying, sorry.
I'm glad you brought up the.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought up the library analogy, and what Kriti said is perfectly right. It's basically a question of who gets to read books from the library and what books they read. What books they read cannot be controlled by some private entity, especially one outside of India. And if you want to give free library access, another easy model is let the people choose what first 5 books they want is free. Next book onwards, you charge them. That's a very simple model. In such a model, Facebook would have no role to play.
So it's interesting, but Nikhil Pava, the IIT professors bring up the issue of an entity outside India. Now, does that matter in the internet?
No, I mean, the way I look at it is that why should a telecom operator have the right to choose which services get zero rated and which services don't? This entire debate is essentially about disproportionate power being taken over by the middleman. Free basics is being zero rated by the telecom operators, right? So the problem is there, and the differential pricing that is being looked into, that differential pricing is going to be brought about by the telecom operators. So I think as a country we need to be very conscious about how this impacts our access to the internet, our access to knowledge. Right now the internet is an open free roam space where you can choose what you want, you can go where you want, you can create what you want. These services essentially limit us to a walled garden of sorts, and I want to take this moment to thank the professors from IIT. They gave us so much of hope. They spoke up during the last consultation as well, and we need experts like these to speak up, and I'm sure the regulator will listen to them.
I was speaking to the audience, we have an audience over here as well, and you also asked them how many of them, and it's interesting that only about one. You are supporting free basics. What reason do you have to support them?
Yeah, the point that you are saying is that we shouldn't support the free basics because it's not free, and a neutral body should come in and they should provide the free internet service to all. That's absolutely right. A neutral body should step in and they should provide the free internet to all. But that is not the case. That is not happening. So a company which has the resources and which has the will to provide the free basic services like the internet, like the books.
I want the IIT professors. So, you know,
it's not about like what should we provide or what should we provide. Suppose if a company is willing to provide and a company have the resources to provide that, and they are also not monetizing the free basics.
So Professor Ramamritam, this argument is being used a lot, that in a country where many people just don't have, where there's such a huge digital divide, so if someone's providing, why don't we just accept it?
This is a very easy way for them to provide it, which is they can pay for, let's say, if the first half a gigabyte is paid for by Facebook. That's a very easy way to do it. But they don't want to do it like that. They want to violate the core design principle of the internet, net neutrality, and route all data through Facebook servers and extract data, whatever information they want out of users' data, and use it for their own commercial purposes.
Yeah, very valid point.
The other dimension, if I can add to that, is that in the past, this has happened several times when we don't take the initiative, let somebody else do it, and then they slowly penetrate our whole system and take over. I mean, I don't want to name names here, but it's been mentioned several times by writers in the papers. So this sort of thing can't happen, can't be allowed to happen, just because we don't have the wherewithal now to respond in terms of how or who will replace this free basic proposal. That doesn't mean there's no alternative possible. We have to start working towards it and not say this is only one available now, so let's pick it up and go run forward.
So Mr. Chaudhary, all these concerns that all of you are raising, because we asked Facebook, because we asked Facebook to come and address all of them, and one, they said that they have been addressing all of it in various platforms through their articles and all of that, but they didn't want to come on this show because they're saying at a certain other point they will come and talk about it. But Manish Chaudhary, do you think there's anyone addressing all of this? Is the government taking all of this into account?
I think that the regulator has come up with a paper, and we think they will be able to see through the disingenuous campaign which they are running and actually do what they are intending to do. The discussion about differential pricing, why it is important is that today a small website can become the giant provider tomorrow. That's how Facebook came into existence. And if you say a telecommunication service provider, whether it is Reliance, Airtel or anybody else, they in collusion with a content provider can decide a basket of websites which will be available for free to customers, then you are putting all other businesses at an advantage. Tomorrow I may be the new Indian company who wants to get in. You've already raised my entry costs. The barriers have now risen. And what has happened is that as internet service provider is now prioritizing some website or some app or some services,
but they
by
say they'll do business with anyone.
No, that is what Facebook will do. Why do we need free basics or Facebook in this? So if Reliance says and Facebook says that no money has ever exchanged hands, nothing has happened, we're doing this all because of charity, and more people will come to internet. So what prevents Reliance from offering 100 MB of data for free? What is the role of free basics?
You know, I wanted to, I'll come to you, but Manish Vij, I just want to work out, we have a problem with the line, so we can't get Rajiv Chandrasekhar up, but what he was telling me before is, we shouldn't vilify it, because the concerns you raise as startups is, that can be taken to the Competition Commission of India. So are issues getting mixed up over here? I mean, are you just afraid of competition?
Not at all. I mean, this is not about competition. I mean, it's a very valid point that Mishi kind of brought up, that if Facebook or the telecom operators want more people to be connected and experience internet for free, let them give them to free. I mean, Facebook, if they have resources, to your point, let them give the first 100 MB free and experience whatever they want to experience. Why only Facebook?
Okay, we'll take a short break now. More on this, audience questions, and hopefully we'll also have Rajiv Chandrasekhar from Bangalore joining us. Stay with us. Welcome back. On agenda today, we're talking about free basics, an issue which has divided, some suggest divided the internet users, and really many feel could be the key to mounting the digital divide. We're joined also by MP, Rajya Sabha MP Rajiv Chandrasekhar from Bangalore. I know that you've submitted your point of view to the telecom regulator today, Mr. Chandrasekhar. Where do you stand on this particular issue?
Look, I'm a bit surprised that this whole debate on net neutrality has become, unfortunately, a rant against free basics. And the issues around free basics, whether it's a foreign power conspiracy or it's a privacy issue or a privacy concern, are probably legitimate, may or may not be legitimate. But I think the focus ought to be on what net neutrality is about and whether free basics violates net neutrality. There are many issues today at play in the internet space that consumers are worried about, legitimately so. Privacy is one of them. The issue of where data is stored and whether there is some discrimination against other websites is a legitimate concern. But what free basics represents, in my opinion, is to a lot of people's minds, the ability to distort free and fair competition on the web marketplace or the web on the web as a commercial marketplace. And that legitimately is where the Competition Commission and competition law kicks in. It is the mandate of the Competition Commission to make sure competition is free and fair. And if there is a need to examine free basics, it should be examined, and if it fails, it shall fail. If it passes, it will pass. But to completely take over the debate on net neutrality, which is exactly where it should be, which Nikhil mentioned, which is about the power of TSPs, and move away from that into this, I'm not saying it's not a legitimate argument, but move it away, is actually distracting away from the process of cableization of the internet, which is where the clear and present danger is if we don't regulate effectively and properly.
Okay. Could I ask the IIT professors to react to Rajiv Chandrasekhar on this?
Yeah, in a sense, I agree with him that the core of the issue is really net neutrality. But we highlighted in our response to the free basics issue much more than net neutrality, because it really is going way beyond violation of net neutrality. For example, technically there is no reason why a user's data should go via Facebook servers. But that's exactly what free basics proposal is. It says that whatever free basic app or website that user will use, that data has to go through Facebook server, and Facebook will decrypt the contents. There is absolutely no reason for Facebook to do so.
And they can use the data for 90 days. This is another addition.
So Rajiv Chandrasekhar, there are obviously security issues which are being raised not just by them, the IIT professors, but also by the father of the internet who wrote an article about this just a couple of days ago.
So Sunetra, this is the point I'm making. There are many moving parts to what the internet should be. Privacy is clearly one, freedom of expression was one, as you know, section 66A got overturned. These are all very important issues, but when you start lumping all of them together and characterizing everything as one large bundle, we don't get anywhere. That is the reason I say privacy is a legitimate issue, and what the professors are saying is absolutely right. But I just want to point out to them, free basics is not going to be any further free basics or anything for that matter doesn't make worse the privacy issue that we already have. We already have a huge privacy issue, whether it's the Aadhaar database, whether it's on the internet, for which there is no legislation.
Nikhil are totally disagreeing with you. Why is that? Mishi, you go first.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, just on the privacy aspect of it. One, I completely agree about the network neutrality aspect. Network neutrality is a gloriously indefinite term.
But where
everybody
has
has their definition, and I'll come to that about it. Now, what happens is, instead of talking about traffic management, if we only stick to the distortion of competition part, then also this is an important, very important question. Coming to the privacy part of it, it makes our privacy concerns worse is because the way Free Basics by Facebook currently operates, it breaks the authentication function by HTTPS, which you and me, because we are rich, we actually make secure connections with any other website.
Okay.
But in the name of charity, the poor are supposed to have insecurity in it. They are going to retain raw data for 90 days, which is geological time in internet words.
Okay.
And then what happens is that this propaganda is that it's a scheme to get a navigational data, de-anonymize packets of millions of Indians. Otherwise,
is that your concern?
Why should we route it through the reverse proxy of Free Basic? We can just let Reliance provide 100 MB of data for free. Everybody tastes the internet, goes on to that ramp, buys, because suddenly their purchasing power is going to change, get free internet, and then become internet users.
I think what this show has just established is...
point.
Very quickly.
I would disagree with Mr. Chandrasekhar when he says that we need to look at all of these issues separately, because it is the same service which contains all of these issues, and you have to look at it in a holistic manner about what all violations it is creating. The other worry is the moment this goes to the Competition Commission, we lose another 3 years.
Exactly.
And the service can perpetuate and more services can come up.
Why is
we
US
can't let
not
this go through.
Okay, this has become quite contentious, but we're totally out of time. Rajiv Chandrasekhar,
No, I just want to say one thing. The reason I said they have to be handled separately is the legislative requirements to handle privacy is very different from net neutrality and freedom of expression, and therefore these have to be legislated and regulated very, very independently.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
That spans across.
Rajiv Chandrasekhar, we'll have to leave it there. R. Chandrasekharan, the professors in Bombay, and of course my guests here in studio. Thanks all very much. I'm told because the last date has been extended by telecom operators, we'll only see this debate intensifying. So watch the space. Thanks for watching.